fighter. He's biblically strong, lightning fast, supremely intelligent. And if he is struck down on the battlefield,
how's it going there, YouTube land and also social media lands? Welcome to an all-new video. In this video, we're doing a movie review of a new film that just came out the end of October and is a sequel many years in the making, so we're going to get right into that. But before we do that, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you miss this video and the other videos I put up. As always, people, if you enjoy my content here on YouTube, definitely check out my other social media platforms, such as X, Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. Pretty much posting these regularly, so definitely check them out. As always, let's get right into this. So welcome on and all to an all-new video. So like I was saying before, we're doing a movie review of a new film that came out the end of October and is a sequel many years in the making called Tron Ares. Yeah, Tron Ares. Yeah. So this is the third film in the Tron series. This is the next film after Tron Legacy, which came out in 2010. So it's been 15 years since the last Tron film, and then before that was the original Tron in 1982. This Tron Ares film is a dynamic film that I absolutely just freaking and loved and enjoyed. This was such a great film, and I don't know why it didn't do well. Box office wise, or with critics, or with people at all, because this was an absolutely fantastic film. Not only was the 9 Inch Nails soundtrack in this amazing, just like with Daft Punk and Tron Legacy, this film had everything I wanted from a Tron film, from action, great story, great acting, and a great ensemble that recreated the world of Tron and added to it and not away from it. And that's what I felt Tron Legacy did too for, you know, the original Tron. Tron Ares does the same for Tron Legacy and for this awesome, amazing series. And if you're not a big fan of like computerized type of films, this film is definitely one of those types, but I think they do it in a really clever and great way that brings it to reality and shows you that how interesting it could be in reality and how that could really affect things. It almost gave me the film Pixel vibes a little bit once the Tron world came into the real world in the film, and it totally made me think of Pixels, but at the same time I think it was just a really solid film that really did a great job of providing us this really great story to add to the original story, but also to progress the story and give us something from, you know, newer age and to bring us up to date in time. And, you know, the original two films are such amazing films, and I was, you know, worried that this one wouldn't live up to those two, and this one did. And I was really, you know, impressed with everything about this film because Evan Peters as the bad guy was amazing. Gillian Anderson was amazing. You know, all of our great characters that were in this film were amazing. You know, Jeff Bridges' portion, Jared Leto, and all these great characters, and they all played so well in this film, and each of them brought a greatness to the characters and just made it super entertaining and enjoyable that made this film so awesome. And I love the pace of the film too, because I thought that the pace really worked well throughout the film. It didn't drag in any spots. It kept you entertained, and it kept you giving you information to keep you along with the story, whereas it didn't like go anywhere where you wouldn't understand what was going on, and they kept it pure and simple and made it really fantastic. And I just was really blown away with how great this film was, and such a great addition, because Legacy really was an amazing film too as well, because it took, you know, the 1982 film, you know, almost 30 years later and gave it a sequel, and that's what Ares is doing for Tron as well, and Tron Legacy, giving this really great sequel that really extends that story, and I think they did a superb job. I really honestly think this is one of Disney's best in quite a while. And I think that they actually put the time and the energy and the effort into making this film so damn good. And I even really enjoy the very beginning part where it's like all kind of like computer screens and showing stories about like what happened to Garrett Hedlund's character, Jeff Bridges' character's son. What happened to Jeff Bridges and stuff like that, and kind of what was going on in the world at the time, and kind of, in the background since Tron Legacy happened. And that was really impressive too. That really shined and gave us this really great film that was super enjoyable. Now, this film is none other directed by a gentleman that goes by the name of Mr. Joachim Röning. Oh yeah, Joachim Röning, woo, Joachim Röning, yeah. So Joachim Röning, you might recognize as part, director and co-writer of other films over the last decade or so with his other partner Eden Sandberg. And I think that they both work really well, and I think that, Joachim is a really solid director just by himself. And he kind of, started off, breaking away from his partner after he did the last Pirates film. And he started with Maleficent 2, and that was kind of his big second film, or first really film that he did directing solo by himself. And I think he really shined in directing Tron Ares, because he really brought the Tron world to life. He knew exactly what to bring and what to give, and how he also did such a great job of interconnecting both films to this film. And also, I love that he kept the vibe feeling the same. He kept it feeling 1982. He kept it feeling like 2010. He kept it feeling like it was this normal universe that was inside reality. And Joachim did such a great job of just giving us this really great thought process and great addition to the Tron film legacy. And also, I just love what he did and how he pushed it forward to interconnect everything as well. Because there's a lot of interconnections to characters from films past as well that really shine and give us these really great, tickets to such a great idea and just a really fun, entertaining film. And I love what Joachim did too, because he really kept it very Tron-esque. He didn't try to add anything new agey or anything stupid to it that would change these simple dynamics of what Tron was. And that's what I loved about his directing. He directed it like those two previous directors and gave us this really superb film that was a great addition to this franchise. And also, I think Joachim did a great job of giving us some great visual effects, great story, great thought process, great acting out of the different actors and actresses throughout the film. And also, I love that he kept it so amazingly 80s feeling. And he did such a great job of bringing that to life again and giving us this really solid film that I think is going to go down as one of his best directings to date. And he did such a fantastic job with this film. Now, if you're not familiar with anything he's directed, definitely another great film to check out of his that I really enjoyed and thought he did a great job with is a great film that came out a few years ago called Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Yeah! So the last Pirates of the Caribbean film, which he co-directed with his co-partner at the time, he still directed the crap out of that film. He brought us back from square one and reconnected the very first film to this film and really give us this really great outing to such a great franchise. And I really enjoyed just everything he did in that film because I thought he directed it just like the first film was directed by Gore Verbinski. And I think that he gave it the same flavor, the same thought process, the same thought and feeling of Curse of the Black Pearl or Dead Man's Chest or not Stranger Tides, but World's End. And I like that he brought that same feeling back, especially when he brought back Will Turner, brought back these characters that were a part of the original series. And I think that he did such a great job of giving us this really solid film that definitely could lead to more films. And I think that Joachim did a great job of giving us that great Pirates feel, gave us those great characters once again, and he had them play and act like the original characters were from the original films. Whereas I feel with Stranger Tides, it definitely felt different. It didn't feel the same as the previous three films, but Dead Men Tales No Tales, I think really felt that way. It felt like it had brought to light another, Pirates film that felt like the original three. And I think Joachim did a great job of giving us that and giving us this really solid film that was super entertaining. If you haven't seen Joe directed anything, definitely check out Pirates in the Caribbean, Dead Man's Tale, No Tales. He did a really fantastic job with it. But overall, he directed the crap out of Tron Ares and made an absolute fantastic, phenomenal film. If you haven't seen anything Joachim has directed, definitely go see Tron Ares in theaters. He did a phenomenal job. So Tron Ares has a really great, phenomenal cast. I mean, lots of great actors and actresses that all play their parts so well and all kick butt and just do a really great job throughout this film. And all of them just played their characters to the T, and I absolutely love the interconnection to all the other characters that have been in the Tron universe. Now, to start us off is none other than kind of our lead main, like, kind of character and kind of, you know, badass chick in the film, Miss Greta Lee. Oh yeah, Greta Lee. Woo, Greta Lee. Yeah. I absolutely love Greta Lee. I think she's a fantastic comedian and actress, and it was funny seeing her in this and just seeing her kick butt and play this character so well. And I absolutely thought it was a great character that really shined in the film and added dimension to the universe of Tron. And I love what Greta brought to the character and just did a really fantastic job of, you know, really playing the character very well, but also adding to the other characters that were throughout the film. And she really did a great job of giving us this really heartfelt, you know, character and connection to previous characters in the franchise, but at the same time, she was a great new character that really added to this great cast of people that have been in the Tron film series. And I just really enjoyed her. I fell in love with her character. I really enjoyed her and liked her. I was rooting for her throughout the whole film, and I thought Greta did a great job of bringing that to life and giving us a really realistic feel of what that person would be doing. And she just kicked butt throughout the film and really did an amazing job. And she is just absolutely gorgeous, and absolutely love watching her and anything. She always plays characters so well, and I think she's a very underrated actress that really shines in when she brings her characters to life. And I think that she did that in Tron Ares. Now, if you haven't seen Greta Lee in anything, definitely a movie to check her out, and she's a freaking hilarious character in this movie. She's absolutely fantastic, plays the character to the T, and is one of my first outings. I've seen her in a film, and she just knocked it in the park. And that, of course, is a film called Sisters. Yeah! Sisters with Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. Yeah! She plays the character Hey One, and she is absolutely freaking hilarious. Especially the scene where her and Amy Poehler are having a conversation back and forth, trying to say her name, and she's like, Hey One, and like Amy Poehler's like, Hey One, and she's like, no, Hey One, and you're just like, oh my god, this is freaking hilarious as hell. And especially later on the film when she is like supposed to be digging it with Bobby Monahan, and she is freaking hilarious. She's like, have you seen my hearing aids? Oh my god, it's so freaking hilarious. She is absolutely fantastic in this film, and is, I think, one of her best roles besides Tron Ares to date. She's absolutely freaking hilarious. She was fantastic. She was fun. She just played the character so well to the T, and just was so entertaining. If you haven't seen Greta Lee anything, definitely check out her in Sisters. She was absolutely fantastic. But overall, she was fantastic in Tron Ares. She was a great addition to this franchise. And overall, I think she just did a really amazing job. If you haven't seen Greta Lee in anything recently, go check her out on Tron Ares. She was absolutely fabulous. So that brings me to the next person I'd like to talk about that was in this film. And that is none other than the other main kind of like hero in the film, Mr. Jared Leto. Oh yeah, Jared Leto. Woo, Jared Leto, yeah! So Jared Leto, he is amazing. He's been in several films over the years. He was, of course, in My So-Called Life back in the 90s. And he has made himself into a huge superstar. He's been in several movies over the years. He's done music with his brother and 30 Seconds to Mars. And Jared is just a really great actor that's always been a huge method actor. And he always pulls himself into his characters and films and does a really fantastic job. And I always just enjoy him. I think he does a great job of what he does. And I think that he's really good at what he does. And he was actually really awesome as Ares in this film. I really enjoyed it. I loved what he brought to it. I liked that he was very much different than, you know, our predecessors in other Tron films. I like that he played the character with his strengths And I think that he did a good job of portraying the character and giving us this really fun character that you're rooting for throughout the film. You are wanting him to be a good guy, not a bad guy. You want him to be different than the other programs that he is a part of and all this kind of stuff. And you're just really root for him. And I think Jared does a really good job at making you feel that and making you want to root for him and want him to be a good guy. And I think Jared did such a great job of bringing that character to life. Was a really great addition to the Tron universe and giving us this really great other new character to add to the already fantastic characters of like Flynn and so forth and stuff like that in the Tron universe. And Ares is just a really interesting character too because he's a learning AI basically, and he ends up becoming more self-aware. And I think, you know, Jared did a great job of bringing that to life too, and really zoning in on that and expanding on it throughout the film, and made it very entertaining and super enjoyable. Now, if you haven't seen Mr. Leto in anything, a great film to check him out in. I think is one of my favorites of recent years, and I think it's a really great film that's underrated. And I think that it doesn't get enough praise for how great of a film it was. And that, of course, is the film called Morbius. Yeah, Morbius. Yeah. I know this was considered a critical flop, and a lot of people didn't care for it, but I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and I love Jared Leto's take on the character of Eric Morbius. And I think he does a great job of bringing that character from the comics to the page to the reality that we have not seen on big screen yet. And I loved that character. I thought he did a fantastic job with it. I loved the look. I loved the idea and everything he processed about it. And I enjoyed what he brought to that character, and I think that he did a really fantastic job of bringing that character to life and giving us a really solid interpretation of a live-action form of Morbius as a character. Now, if you're not familiar with Morbius, of course, he's the living bat character. He basically is a scientist that is trying to cure a disease of his own and ends up, basically combining bat DNA with himself, and he ends up becoming like a human bat. And, basically almost like a vampire. But at the same time, he's got to figure out how to deal with that, along with making himself better and then dealing with the side effects of becoming this man-bat kind of character. And I think Jared did such a great job of bringing that to life in the live-action form that made it so interesting, so fantastic, great action, great thought process. Everything about it I thought was really entertaining and enjoyable, and Jared did such a great job with that. If you haven't seen anything Jared Leto's been in, definitely check out Morbius. He did a really absolutely fantastic job in that. But overall, I really enjoyed him in Tron Ares. I think he was a great character as Ares. I thought he did a dynamic job. He was super fun, and I think he was a great addition to the great Tron universe. If you haven't seen Jared Leto anything recently, go check him out in Tron Ares. He was absolutely fantastic. So that brings me to the final actor I'd like to talk about that was in Tron Ares. And that, of course, is the main bad guy antagonist of the film, Mr. Evan Peters. Oh yeah, Evan Peters. Woo, Evan Peters. Yeah. Absolutely love Evan Peters. I think he's a fantastic actor. I mean, from being in the American Horror Stories to being in the WandaVision series to being in several other films over the years and TV shows and stuff like that. He's just an absolute fantastic actor. I remember the first time I ever saw him, which was in the film Sleepover from 2004 with Alexa Vega and Scout Taylor Thompson and all this kind of stuff. And he was absolutely freaking on point. He was like one of my favorite things besides Sam Huntington in that film. And he was so freaking good. And I just remember thinking, that kid is going to be a movie star. And he did. He became a star. And he is so freaking good at his characters. And I absolutely love his character in Tron Ares. I think he plays a really great villain. I think he plays a really interesting character. And I love that his character is related to a previous bad guy in the original Tron film. And I think that that's a great idea, and that was a great aspect that they brought to tie those together. And I thought Evan did a great job of kind of portraying his grandfather's character as his own character, playing that great character that the late, great, Richard did in the original film. And he did such a great job of bringing that to life and bringing this really awesome character that not only is he a bad guy, but at the same time, you're kind of like, you kind of feel bad for him, but at the same time, as you hate him. It was a great combination. I think Evan did such a great job of bringing that to life. And I loved his relationship with his mother, Gillian Anderson, in the film. I loved the relationship he had with his creatures and his creations, stuff like that. And I think that he just does a great job of bringing everything to life with his character in this film, and I think he just did a dynamic job. Now, if you haven't seen Evan Peters or anything, a great film to check him out in is a great film that came out a few years ago and is a part of a great X-Men franchise that started back in 2000 called X-Men Days of Future Past. Yeah! X-Men Days of Future Past. Yeah! His portrayal of Quicksilver is ultimately the best Quicksilver I've ever seen. His on-point timing of his character, the comedy, the action, the presentation, everything about his character is absolutely on point and fun, and like Quicksilver was in the comics. And he was so freaking good as that character, and I loved it that he reprised it for WandaVision, and I love that he is such a great character and such a great actor that he brought that character to life and made it so entertaining and so much fun. And I think that particular characterization really shines his talents in that film, and he just was so freaking awesome. And some of his lines in X-Men Days of Future Past are on point perfection and so much like Quicksilver, and I think it just works so well and makes it so much fun and just shines Evan Peters' abilities to act, and he was just so superb. If you haven't seen Evan Peters or anything, definitely check him on the X-Men Days of Future Past. He was absolutely phenomenal. But I think he was phenomenal in Tron Ares. I think he was a great villain. I'm looking forward to seeing if they take his villainness to a whole new level, where his character goes, especially after we got the, post scene of him. And I think that his character was just so fun and so enjoyable to watch, and he just was so dynamic in the film. If you haven't seen Evan Peters or anything recently, go check him out in Tron Ares. He was absolutely phenomenal. Just want to throw a few shout-outs to a couple other actors and actresses that were in this film. Of course, I want to shout out Miss Gillian Anderson, who plays the mother of Evan Peters in the film. She was absolutely fantastic in the film. She was pretty much throughout the whole entire film, and she just did a dynamic job. I love that she is the daughter of the main villain from the original Tron film. I love that she's interconnected that way. I thought that was a really great idea and thought process, and I think she just did a dynamic job and a really fantastic job in the film, so I have to shout her out. And also I have to shout out, of course, the great Mr. Flynn himself, Mr. Jeff Bridges, of course, with his brief cameo in the film, which was really awesome. Getting to meet Ares and helping him out and making him mortal and all that kind of stuff was really awesome. And I love that we got to see Jeff Bridge again, his character Flynn again. It was so awesome, fun, another great connection to the original film series. It just was so awesome and amazing, and I think that it worked out really well, and he just was so fun in his small sequence and just really kicked butt too as well. So I have to shout out those two greats that were in this film as well. But, so what is Tron Ares about? Basically, the premise of the story is two divisions of different game makers have now acquired the rights to basically Flynn's technology. And both of these companies are trying to be the first one to create digital life from that program that Flynn created that can live in reality. And basically what ends up happening throughout the film is it's about them trying to be the first ones to do it. One of them ends up doing it, and then the other one tries to stop that from them becoming the first to have done it, and kind of the madness that ensues with them trying to get the data to where it needs to be and to show that they were the ones that created it and are the next revolution in the gaming industry, and kind of that craziness and how doing that brings the Tron world into reality and kind of the craziness that ensues as well. It's a really fantastic film. I thought it was a great addition to the Tron series. It is so well crafted, so well executed, great action, great CGI, great music, great everything about it. The acting was superb, the writing was superb. This was just a really knock it out of the park, amazing addition to this franchise, and I was blown away, and I was so happy that it was so damn good. I can't wait to add this to collection. I give it a giant 10 golden movie boxes up. I think it's an absolutely superb film, one of the best of 2025, and I think overall it's just a really fantastic film that really clenches and really feels and grabs the essence of the original two films. you haven't seen Tron Ares yet, highly recommend go check out in theaters now. Worth a watch. Like I said, can't wait to add to the collection. So that's it for this trailer. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Also, thank you for being a part of this community. As always, huge shout out to my subscribers, new and old. Thank you so much for being a part of the channel. As always, people, keep your eyes out for any old or new videos you might not see mine yet. As always, if you want to really help support the channel, really all my great subscribers, new and old, please think about checking out my Patreon page and becoming a member and helping out the channel so that I can make better and awesomer content for you guys. Because once you do that, you get extra accoutrements such as outtakes, bloopers, suggestions of what I review for you guys, all that kind of cool stuff, merch and all that kind of cool jazz. So definitely check that out. As always, catch you next one.